Hi, everyone. My name is Vanessa Fernandez, and I run the Enneagram workshop. And we are in the middle of a series on the defense mechanisms and how they show up for us in our inner work. If you have not already watched the video on type 1, please go back and just watch the first few minutes, although the whole video is great. But the first few minutes give you a good introduction on what I'm speaking about when I'm speaking about defense mechanisms, my approach to them, and why this is an important conversation. So get some context there, because we're going to dive straight into type 5 here in this video. And the type 5 defense mechanism is isolation. And for type 5s, isolation feels like a good way to get mastery over a skill that maybe they feel that they don't have, or pull themselves out of an environment where it might be revealed that they don't have mastery over a skill that they would want to have. And typically for 5s, when we're talking about inner work, we're talking about work that pertains to how they relate to others, how they show up in the world, and how present they're able to be to their own inner depths, especially the depths of emotion and the depths of their own fear. 5s are in the fear triad. There's a lot of fear of those depths, and yet also this being drawn to some of those deeper questions. And so when 5s are being faced with some of the expansion that they're being called into, isolation feels like a really safe way to pull out of that potentially overwhelming experience. And so here are my questions for you if you are a type 5 and doing inner work. Does the mess feel too much? And when I say the mess, I mean the mess of looking at who you really are and confronting some of those old patterns. Whenever we want to transform, typically it follows a process where we are taking stock of what is here, deciding what we want to keep and what we want to release, and then we reorder or reorganize what we have left. Maybe we add in some new skills. So that work is messy. Just recently in my apartment, we redid some rooms and we had to pull everything out of the closets, figure out what we didn't want anymore, throw it away, have the new stuff, have the old stuff, figure out the new place for everything. We had to build some furniture to hold some of the new things. And that was a huge mess, and it took lots of time and energy. But when we were finished, the space was transformed. It felt more functional. It felt more at home, in our own home, to have that space reclaimed and transformed. And so my question to you 9s is, does the mess feel too much? Where are you guarding against that feeling of overwhelm? Because for the type 5, they're often trying to avoid that feeling of overwhelm because they don't feel like they have the resources to hold themselves through that overwhelming experience. When we isolate, it's a form of freezing. It's a form of that freeze response, right? Our nervous system kind of goes, I don't want to deal with this. I'm going to eject myself from being in this situation because it's overwhelming my nervous system. So a lot of the work for type 5s is, how can you support your nervous system so that you can remain just a bit longer in the overwhelm and you don't have to expel yourself or, pull away into isolation? Only because isolation doesn't actually build competency. Isolation allows us to lie to ourselves that we are more competent, or that we're not as bad at something as we maybe are, or we don't have to face anything, but it doesn't actually build competency to isolate oneself. And so looking at, a lot of times with our type structures, there's what we truly want, and then we're not sure if we can actually get that. And so then there's what we settle for. 9s or 5s truly want to know. They want clarity. They want competency in a true sense, right? So that they can feel that stability coming from within themselves. But what they settle for is constructing a life where they isolate themselves in any environment where they don't feel competent, And then they only show up in the areas where they have built competency so that they can give themselves the illusion that they truly are safe and competent. But that illusion doesn't quite feel satisfactory. And so it becomes this endless quest for knowing more, this endless quest for putting up more boundaries to be able to isolate when they want to. A truly courageous, settled, held type 5 can walk into any space. And if it begins to become overwhelming, can navigate their nervous system overwhelmed to the extent that they build competency and actually become that person who has clarity, who knows who they are, and who can navigate in any situation. That's the deepest longing for the type 9. That's why that question is important. Another question is, what does isolating keep you from? What are you missing out on? What resources are you missing out on when you isolate? When we talk about nervous system regulation, a big part of nervous system regulation, especially at the beginning, is co-regulation. Right? If I'm freaking out, and we see this in children, when they're freaking out, they are crying out for someone to grab them, hold them, shush them, shh, it's okay, it's okay. And then they regulate. There's a need that we have, especially as we're building our nervous system regulations skills. There's a need that we have for co-regulation. We need someone to say, I see you, I hear you, I'm in a calm state. I'm going to hold some space and you just sit here with me. And as you freak out and go through all of your overwhelm, I'm holding steady. I'm not going anywhere. And I'm also not going to join you in your freak out. I'm going to help you co-regulate. So isolating for the type 5 actually robs you of resources that are necessary for building the competency around nervous system regulation. So what is isolation keeping you from? And then what kind of inner work might be available to you if you allowed that overwhelm to come in at times? Right? If you allowed yourself to push into your edges as far as what you can handle and what kind of skills you might want to use as things start to build and overwhelm. If ejection out of the situation or numbing or disassociating is your only skill, then there's going to be some atrophy in some other areas when it comes to staying in, having some hard conversations and being present to whatever it is that you're feeling. So this is the work for type 5s. Now, I've mentioned this in some of my other videos, but one of the things that I absolutely love doing and have found to be wildly effective is working with teams in corporations and nonprofits where there are individuals that on their own may be super healthy and wonderful, but as they come together and encounter other people's ways of seeing things, other people's ways of communicating, the defense mechanisms start to creep in. And those defense mechanisms, whether it's isolation or some of the others that we've spoken about already, end up creating walls, end up creating distortions of truth, and end up creating friction. And so a team that may be extremely talented, a team that may be extremely full of wonderful, good-hearted people wanting to do great work together may find some unforeseen friction within themselves. So a lot of the work that I do is to help identify what some of these defense mechanisms are, how they're showing up, how they may be uniquely interacting with other types and their defense mechanisms, and what that cocktail is producing on a whole for the team. And then understanding, how do we support each other through our nervous system regulation? How do we start to relax some of those defense mechanisms so that we can have a team where people can both be heard, can listen objectively, and create some synergy and some collaboration that feels really supportive for everyone involved. If that's something that sounds interesting to you and some of the teams that you work with, my information is in the notes of this video, and I would love to have a discussion with you around what that might look like. Thanks so much for watching. Type 6 is coming next.